Students of Standard 7. We'll begin with English 1 today. The title of your first unit is Exploring Symbols. In Exploring Symbols, the first activity that you have over there is a little information about Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore is a very famous personality of India, mainly because our national anthem has been taken from one of his poems. Moreover, some information that is given in our textbook regarding Rabindranath Tagore is he was born in Kolkata in 1861. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913. That was for his book Gitanjali. Nobel Prize is the highest honor that a person can get in the world, and it's a very great achievement of Rabindranath Tagore to get this award. So he got the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913. Okay. One more thing that activity deals with is what is a pen name. Say for example, Rabindranath Tagore, that was his real name. But when he used to write literature, he used to use his pen name, that is Bhanu Simha. Bhanu means sun and Simha means lion. So if you translate it into English, it means sun lion, or the pen name of Rabindranath Tagore was Bhanu Simha. The activity also states that you have to write a pen name for yourself. So over here, there is some space given in the textbook for writing a pen name for yourself. That pen name can be your favorite cartoon character, it can be your favorite flower, it can be any of your favorite thing. So write a nice pen name for yourself in the textbook. Okay, the main part of the lesson is the poem Where the Mind is Without Fear. This is a very famous poem written by Rabindranath Tagore. Over here, one thing we should keep in mind is this is a pre-independence poem. Means it was a poem that was written before India became independent. And that is why this poem is like a prayer to God. And the poet over here expresses what type of India he wishes when India becomes free. So what are the qualities the people should have? When India becomes a free nation, how should it progress? What type of people should India have so that the nation progresses? In that, the first line of the poem states, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Okay, so the mind of the people should be without fear. Means there should be no type of fear in the minds of the people. People should work fearlessly for the progress of their country. The second line states, where knowledge is free. Means knowledge should be freely available to everyone. So people, if they are knowledgeable, they will help a lot towards the progress of the country. One very important thing Rabindranath Tagore has mentioned over here, where the world has not been broken into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Okay, first of all, understand the meaning of the word fragments. Fragments means pieces. Where the world has not been broken into fragments means our country should not be divided into pieces. Pieces how? And what is the very narrow domestic walls. Now domestic walls means what? Those are the walls that are created in our mind. The distinctions or the differentiations we make in our mind. Those are the divisions. See over here. Narrow domestic walls means what? Divisions created in our minds. Okay, so such things should not happen. So the world, India should not be divided due to the narrow thinking of the people. People should live together in unity. Where words come out from the depth of truth. So people should always speak the truth. Where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. See, tireless striving. Tireless means you do not get tired to do any work. Striving means hard work. So tirelessly people should work hard to get perfection. See, to make anything perfect, we always have to work tirelessly towards it. Only then can we make a thing perfect. So what quality Rabindranath Tagore wishes that the people of India should have is people should work tirelessly to get perfection in whatever they do. The next line of the poem suggests where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Over here, the stream of reason. Stream of reason means what? Say we have the capacity to find out what is right and what is wrong. Okay, that is reasoning. That we have that skill in our mind that we can find out what is right and what is wrong. But that stream of reason, see, reason over here is talked as if it is like a stream. So that stream of reason should not lose its way into a desert. Okay, it means that people of India should understand what is good for them, what is bad, what is right for them and what is wrong. Okay, the next means over here, in short, you can understand it. People should learn to think logically, then only they will be able to find out what is right, what is wrong and act accordingly. The next line of the poem says, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action. Okay, THEE, thee means you. And over here the poet, as I told you in the beginning, that this poem is like a prayer to God. So thee over here means you, and over here the poet is talking to God. So the mind of the people should be led forward, should be carried forward by God. And into ever widening thought and action. Means our thoughts and our action should be such that they are ever widening, forever they are widening, and then only they can lead to the progress of the nation. Into that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country away. So when India becomes free, the people of India should have all these qualities that the poet has mentioned throughout the poem. And then only the people, when India becomes free, the mind of the people of the country should be led forward by God. When the country awakes, means when India becomes free, God should lead the people of the country into being such type of citizens. Okay, so again, over here, my father is the word that is mentioned. So my father with F capital, he with H capital. These two words also suggest that the poet is talking to God. So all these words, see in the last two lines of the poem, the word thee means you. The poet is suggesting that he is talking to God, and this poem is like a prayer to God. And the words father and he with H capital, father again with F capital. This shows that the poet is talking to God. The next activity that you have in your textbook are a few words for which you need to match their meanings. I have already written them with their correct answers. First is fragments. Fragments means what? Pieces. Pieces broken off or detached from a complete portion. Okay. Over here you can also remember fragments, you can simply remember pieces. Okay. So the world should not be broken up into fragments. That is the line that is mentioned. So you can simply remember pieces. Okay, striving means to labor hard or to work hard. Striving towards perfection, so people should work hard towards perfection is what is mentioned. Dreary means cheerless. Domestic means related to family affairs, something that is connected to our family. The meaning of the word tireless means without rest or sleep, without getting rest or without sleep. See, tireless striving, that is the word that is mentioned. Tireless striving means without having rest or sleep. We work hard to get perfection. So, tireless striving means without rest or sleep. Desert you all know it is a waterless or isolated area. Isolated means something that is detached from the other things, that is isolated. A waterless or isolated area or land, that is a desert. Okay, activity 3. Activity 3, there is a question, how do you know from the poem whom the poet is talking to? So we know very well that this poem is like a prayer to God and the poet is talking to God. And as I explained it earlier, he, father, thee, all these words in the last two lines of the poem suggest that the poet is talking to God. For activity 3 students, there is on page number 4 of your textbook, there are a few sentences that are given. Okay, the first thing that they have given is where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. So you have to find out the subject. So mind over there, mind is the subject. Next line they have written is where knowledge is free. So over here in this sentence, what are we talking about? We are talking about knowledge. So that is the subject, knowledge. Where the world has not been broken. So we are talking about the world. So the world is the subject over there. Your question over there is what is the subject of the fourth line? Where words come out from the depth of truth. So over here we are talking about words. So that is the subject. Okay, activity 4. Activity 4 in your textbook, it deals with adjectives. As you already learnt in your earlier classes, adjectives are describing words. It describes a noun, that word is called an adjective. Okay, nouns, again just for your reference, nouns are naming words. So say for example, we want to write adjectives for some particular things. Say for example, we take the example of a chalk. So this chalk, it's cylindrical, it is white, okay, it is breakable. So all these are adjectives. The chalk is the noun and the words which described the chalk, those are called adjectives. Okay. So your work from the poem is to find out the adjectives. In activity 4, you have to write down a few words from the poem which are adjectives. As I have written over here, some of the words. Okay. Say for example, go through the poem line wise. Start with the first line of the poem, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. So how is the head? High. So that shows the quality. Then where knowledge is free. How is the knowledge free? So free is the adjective. Where the world has not been broken. So how is the world? Broken. Broken is an adjective. Where the world has not been broken into narrow domestic walls. So how are the walls? They are narrow and domestic. Where tireless striving. Striving, as we did it earlier. Striving means hard work. How is the striving? How is the hard work? Tireless. So tireless is an adjective. Where the clear stream of reason. How is the stream? Clear. Into the dreary desert sand. How is the desert sand? Dreary. So that is again an adjective. Okay. Into dreary desert sand of dead habit. How is the habit? Dead. And the next line of the poem, that is where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action. Ever widening. How should be the thoughts and actions? They should be ever widening. So all these are the words in the poem which are adjectives. Means they describe a noun. Okay, activity 5 of your textbook deals with national symbols. Okay, like when we did the beginning of the poem, we read about the pen name of Rabindranath Tagore, that is Bhanu Sinha. That is, in English if you translate it, sun lion. So sun lion is a symbol of what? That stands for Rabindranath Tagore. So same way, our country has symbols. Okay, like say we have a particular logo for our school, so that you have it in your diary. Same way, our country also has a few symbols. Some of them mentioned in your textbook. In activity 5 are, say national bird. You all know it very well. The national bird, peacock. National tree, that is banyan tree. National game, that's hockey. National fruit, that's mango. Okay, these are a few examples that's already mentioned in your textbook. But for all these spaces, what you need to do is find out more national symbols and write them over. Okay, you can find out our national language, national flag. For national flag, you can mention it has 3 colors. Okay, so it's called the tricolor. Then you can talk about the national anthem, national emblem, national song. Okay, so there are a lot of different national symbols. Over here there is a mention about the national bird, but there is also a national animal, that's the tiger. So like that you will fill in all these boxes. I suppose not 10, you will be able to find out many more. So in your textbook and then later on in your notebook you can write down the number of national symbols that you find out. Okay, but a few of them are given, those I have written over here on the board. The others you find them out and write it down.